program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to a scorching hot day here in the African bush. We're in search of Africa's big cats and all the other wonderful creatures. Come join us. This is Safari Live. Ready.
Standing by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Welcome to Torwood, Malibu, and... oh no, I've suddenly drawn a blank. Providence, thank you very much, Kat. It's going to be great having 3 schools aboard all at the same time. I'm looking forward to taking you on your own private South African safari adventure. What a fun way to spend a school time. So what I'm looking for is leopards at the moment. This morning I followed a mom leopard with 2 babies for 3 hours, and I'm hoping she's going to be around here somewhere in the shade where it's nice and cool. It's about 90 degrees Fahrenheit, guys, so it is a stinker today. And of course, what are those? Those are not leopard tracks. And remember, I want questions from you guys. Send in as many questions as possible. I'd love to hear from you, and it's great to have all 3 of those schools with us today. So about 8 a.m. this morning, I left that female leopard about 2 football fields that way. So we're going to make our way around, see if she's still there. If she's not there, I think she's left her babies in a nice shaded area. So hopefully we'll be able to find, if not all 3 leopards, at least 2 of them. Okay. I was also hoping there might be some elephants out near the water holes, but not so far today. Arun would like to know, how hot can it get in Africa? Well, in this part of Africa, it gets to around, on the hottest day, about 115 degrees Fahrenheit. So it can get very hot. Average summer temperatures are from 90 to 100 at the heat of the day. Okay, so no elephants playing in the mud wallow, so we're going to keep looking for that leopard. Now what happened is, I think that female leopard went hunting for a bit this morning, and then when it got hot, she probably came for a drink around here, and then she might have snoozed somewhere in the shade till it gets cooler again. She's got 2 cubs, so she's got a lot of hard work keeping dinner on the table for her 2 babies, but she's a very good hunter and a very good mother, so hopefully we can find them. But I'm not the only one out here in the African bush. Let's go meet some other members of the team who are out and about looking for animals just for you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome on Safari Live. My name is Byron, and on camera is VM with me this afternoon. Hope you are all having a wonderful day, and welcome to our schools that are watching. Malibu, Torwood, and Providence Elementaries. Lovely to have all of you with us, and please send us your questions. Hashtag Safari Live or questions at WildEarthTV, and we'll gladly answer them for you. So we are looking for lions, everyone. That is our plan for this afternoon. Well, one of our plans. We've got a few different plans, so we're hopefully going to show you a lot of different animals. So we are looking for a big male and a female lion that we saw this morning, very, very early this morning. It's a very, very hot afternoon, so I think these lions are lying in the shade somewhere, and they're probably resting until later this evening. Now, Angeli, you want to know, where do lions go in the winter? So Angeli, lions will always be around, and in Africa we don't have animals that hibernate like in America, in North America, where you are all from. You have bears, for example, that hibernate. They move into caves and they sleep in the winter. None of our animals do that. They are always around throughout the year. So the lions will always be around They don't mind the cold, and it doesn't get nearly as cold here as it does where you are back home. Alright, so Brent and I are not the only ones out on safari this afternoon. Jamie is out on her bushwalk. Let's go say hi.
Hello and welcome to the on-foot portion of your Sunset Safari, and a very special welcome to Malibu, Tallwood and Providence Elementary Schools. I hope you are all really very excited. My name is Jamie, and this afternoon the gentleman behind the camera is Jeandre, and he's currently having to bend down because I'm bending down and still managing to keep the camera incredibly steady. Isn't he a genius at this? Now we've got some really exciting plans for this afternoon, because we're going to be helping Byron with a very special task, and I want to show you exactly what that task involved. Now, whenever we are searching for an animal, we are looking for the footprints that they leave in the soil. And now this is a very special track, and I know what particular track this is. It's something big. It's got a paw, and it's got toes here. This is one toe, this is another toe, and another toe, and another toe, and this is the back of its foot with 3 lobes at the back. And this is a really very fresh lion track. It's only a few hours old. Now this morning we were fortunate enough to actually see these lions while we were walking back to camp, and they were right just a few meters from where we are now. So we're going to be trying to help Byron by walking on foot very, very carefully to see if we can't find where these lions have gone. Now it's not just us out here. There is a gentleman called Herbie, and he helps to keep us safe and helps to walk ahead and look out for them. Gracie, you want to know how long lions live. The males will live shorter than the females. Females, you're looking at around 13 to 14 years old, and males only average around 10 or so years old. And that's because male lions fight a lot, so they often have a slightly shorter life expectancy than the females. So kind of like your big dogs at home, Gracie. And thank you for sending through your questions, and all of you can send through your questions in the same way. I want you to imagine like you're here with us. The sun is beating down, your heart is beating fast because you're looking for lions. We've got one track there where I pointed it out to you. Here's the next one. So he took a very big step here, and another big step here, and another step here, and another step here, and so on, and he's walking in that direction. Now, Sophia, you want to know why Africa looks so dry. Well, Sophia, we've just come out of hopefully come out of one of the worst droughts that South Africa's been in the last 100 years. So we actually haven't had that much good rain in the last 2 or so years. We've had a little bit, because I promise you, a couple of months ago, Sophia, this was just dust. It was just dust and dirt. There was no grass. The trees were dying. The animals were getting sick and thin because there wasn't enough food for them. But luckily we've had a little bit of rain, so it is starting to get a bit better, starting to get a bit greener. But bear in mind, every day is very, very hot. It's 33 degrees today, which is 91 in Fahrenheit, so it's really hot. We're going to go and search for these lions. We're going to track them down by following their footprints. While we do that, Brent has been even more successful, and he's got something really exciting to show you.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. We found the leopards. There they are. So the mom and both the babies are here. Now this is one of Africa's most stealthy cats. So I wonder if she's had a successful day hunting. I don't think so. And she's come back to where she hid the cubs. Let's just try and get into a slight better position. Isn't this exciting, guys? Leopards, not 1 but 3. Okay, so it is very hot, so they're hiding in the shade a little bit. So that's the mommy there. Oh, she's moving a little bit. Now, if we watch her... Oh, I'm trying to see if the babies are going to pop out. And there's a baby, one baby to the left of her and one baby to the right of her. So just hiding in that shade there is a little female. Look at that, there we go. I can't see whether it's the little girl or the little boy. It looks like a little girl. Her name is Shongile, which means exquisitely beautiful. Hi Claire. Claire's wondering how big can leopards grow. Well Claire, that one there, that's an adult female. She probably weighs 90 to 100 pounds. Oh, you can see the other baby behind her. There's the other cub, the young male. And a big male leopard can get to probably about 180 pounds in this area. And so, oh, big cat. So a big male leopard would weigh about the same as me. Not nearly as big as a lion, of course. A big male lion can weigh 450 pounds. Now, we're quite lucky. Normally at this time of the day, they'll be fast asleep, but she might have made a kill somewhere. She might have just come back. We spotted her walking back towards the cubs, so she might have been coming to fetch the cubs. Now, Jasmine's wondering why leopards have their patterns, and there you can see why, Jasmine. It's so they can hide. It breaks up their outline. It enables them to be camouflaged, so they can hide when they try to catch their dinner. Okay, let's get a bit closer. Now, hi, Jewel. Jewel wants to know, what do leopards do when they're hunting for food? Well, Jewel, leopards are ambush predators. So if they see an antelope, they'll then sneak up to it. And when they're very close, maybe 10 or 12 feet, well, they then burst out and they can go very, very fast. And then they jump onto the animal and then they'll eventually grab it by its throat and stop it breathing. Did you see where she went? Looking where the mom went. Ah, there she is. Okay, let's just get into a good spot. Katie's wondering, are leopards carnivores? Now what that means, do leopards eat meat, Katie? There we go, she's out in the open. Oh, she's about to disappear into the shade there. I'm hoping she lies down. That looks like a good shady spot when it's hot. Are you going to lie down? Her name is Karula. Now, Katie, leopards are carnivores. They only eat meat. And they will sometimes chew on a bit of grass, but their main diet is meat. Okay, let's move again. You can see there's the little male sleeping in the shade there. You got him? Here he is. Now we can see those spots of a leopard working as camouflage, because only with the zoom can we spot him. Blessing would like to know how old the leopard cubs are. Blessing, they're nearly 10 months old. Now that's the little boy. His name is Hosanna, which means the little prince. Balin's wondering, how do the leopards survive in this heat? Well, Balin, the trick is, have a snooze in the shade and don't move too much. So leopards can't sweat, so they don't generally move around too much when it's very hot. And the way they cool down, you can see that little boy is panting heavily, so he's breathing very quickly. And what he's doing while he does that is there's lots of blood vessels on his tongue and in his mouth. Oh, Karula's going to come out into the open. There she is. So, as I was saying, so there are lots of blood vessels. So what happens is all the hot blood goes into their mouth, and they breathe quickly, bringing cool air over their tongue, and that then cools down that blood and sends the cool blood to the rest of their body, and that's how leopards cool down. Patience is wondering, how do we know what animal it is just by seeing their footprints? Well, Patience, it's because I've been doing this a long time and I've had very good teachers, and every time you see an animal make a footprint, we go look and double check and learn. But while we've been looking at Mom and the little brother, the little female has snuck right up next to us. There she is. Hello, beautiful. Oh, and snork around behind us. So she snuck up out of nowhere to right next to us. And it looks like Mom might be leaving the babies here to go hunting again. Hi, Kristen. Kristen would like to know, are leopards good climbers? They are very good climbers, Kristen. Out of all the big cats, they're the best climbers. They're able to jump up all sorts of trees. Now I'm just going to try to see where the mom's going. There she is up ahead. Hi, Preston. Preston's wondering, look at that, you can see how good that camouflage is. Preston's wondering, do leopards stay in packs? They don't. You'll only ever find leopards together when there's a mom and babies, and sometimes when the female is looking for a boyfriend. Other than that, they are mostly solitary, so they stay by themselves. Now I think Mom's going to go hunting, and so mostly leopards hunt at night, but this particular female likes to hunt during the day. Hi, Jordan. Jordan wants to know, do we name all the animals? Well, not all the animals, but the leopards we do, Jordan, and the male lions, the ones we see regularly, we do name, and occasionally the odd wildebeest, Jordan. There's a wildebeest to the east of us that he looks very funny to me, so I named him Gnomless Gnomen the Gnu. Of course, Gnu is another name for wildebeest. Okay, well, we're going to wait here and see what these leopards do. While we do that, let's go see what Jamie's up to on foot.
We are still searching for these lions creeping through the bushes. Now, it's impossible for us to ever sneak up upon an animal lion, and that's because they can hear so well. They're constantly on alert. They're animals that are always paying attention to their surroundings, which is why it's so important that we do exactly the same thing. So we're moving through an area that's actually quite nice and open. It's not too thick. It would be nice if it was really open and then we could see the lions far away and it would be perfect. But we're following their footprints through the sand, and I'm looking for a nice example to show you, but I can't find one. But we're going to start creeping slowly but surely. Now, Arun, you wanted to know whether or not we find bones lying around. Yes, all the time. And so much so that I'm pretty confident we can find you a bone before you have to go to your next class. So I'm going to be looking for, look, see, all sorts of things that we find here. It's not a bone, but it is an eggshell. And it might be from a bird. It might also be from a reptile, perhaps something like a snake or a lizard, although I think it's too solid. See, it's quite solid, it's got a hard shell. And that makes me think it might be something like a bird. Generally, reptiles, most of the reptiles lay eggs that are very, very soft. The eggs are soft as opposed to something like a chicken egg, which of course has a very hard shell. So this might have been a bird that hatched. It might have been something that got caught by another bird. There are lots of different birds out here that eat eggs, different creatures that eat eggs. So anything could have happened to have left that eggshell on the ground. But we find all sorts of things. We find insects and scorpions and spiders and snakes. And yes, lots and lots of bones as well. Whether they are from the lion's kills that they've made recently, or perhaps hyenas have been through and dragged a bit of the bone with them. We very often see bones. Saw something moving, but it's jumped away. I think it might have been a grasshopper. But I'm keeping my voice down because I don't want to scare the lions. It's not because I'm scared of the lions, it's because I don't want to give them a fright so that they run away from us. I want to be able to show you without the animals being stressed at all, or without them feeling as though they are under threat or under pressure from us. But we're slowly but surely creeping through, checking everywhere for tracks. And then we also find stuff like this, and I'm going to tell you about this in a moment. But since we're talking about lions, Miles, you wanted to know if lions have a special job depending on their gender. Not really, although yes and no. Let's put it that way. Both the females and the male lions will hunt, so both of them are capable of hunting. Often what will happen is the females will do a lot of the hunting if the males are with them, and the males will come in and take quite a lot of their food. But the males have a very important job in that they've got to patrol a huge territory and make sure that they keep other males out. Females don't have to worry too much about that. They've got to roar a few times, just make sure that the other prides know where they are and the other prides aren't going to come in. But male lions have to defend their territory, or else something will come in, something like another male lion. Now this, what I'm looking at the moment, is very old, very dry elephant dung. And it might seem really gross that I'm picking up an elephant's poo, and you should remember that you don't ever play with an animal's poo unless an adult says that it's okay. But I'm playing with elephant dung because an elephant only eats grass and sticks and twigs, so I'm not worried about it. It's perfectly okay to play with. And this is very old elephant poo, but just look how rough it is. See how much of the grass is still there? How much of it is undigested? Now, let's look at something else. Pop it down. Let's look at something else. Let's look at some dung that probably came from an impala, so something like an antelope. Look at how much better, let me try to do it this way. Look at how much better the antelope is at digesting its food. See how there's hardly any big pieces of grass in there? They eat exactly the same thing. Well, elephants eat more trees as well, but impala will also eat trees. So impala elephants eat the same thing. Yes, an elephant eats a lot more than an impala, but an impala is much, much better at digesting its food. And that's because impala essentially have 4 stomachs, whilst an elephant only has 1, like you or me. Impala have 4, so they actually end up, what they do is they nibble off some grass or some leaves and they swallow it and they chew it, and then they pull it back up. So it's almost not like vomiting, but they push the food back up into their mouths and they chew it again. So they chew it twice, and then they swallow it, and it goes to the second and the third and the 4th stomachs. So they've got 4, whereas an elephant only has 1, just like us, which is why you see such big pieces of grass in elephant dung and not in antelope dung. Right, I just thought I saw some white. I thought it was a bone for you, but it's not. Okay, let's start creeping. I think let's go this way forward. The lions have come through here. They stopped to lie down for a little bit, and then they slowly moved on. So it's important that we're walking nice and carefully, making sure to stop and check every now and again, just to make sure that they're not around. Nope, that's just a log. And often what I like to do is go through to those big termite mounds like the one over there and check and see, because often there's a lot of shade around those termite mounds, and also often the big animals will use them as a nice point to sit up and look down on what they're seeing, so they can see further from the top of a termite mound. So I like to go and check there because often the animals will walk in that direction. Now let's just check and see if these lions aren't around here. I don't see any sign of the lions here, So we're going to keep looking slowly but surely, carefully checking under every tree. And while we do that, Byron has found something very big.
And look what we've found, everyone, a big hippo in the water. Now, I thought it would be a good idea to come and have a look around the water because it's so hot. We might get animals coming down to drink. And isn't this a wonderful surprise to find a big hippo in this water, this tiny water hole? Now, usually, what happens is the hippos move around at night to go eat, and they feed on grass. So they'll move through the clearings, try to feed on as much grass as possible in the evenings, and then the day they spend in the water because they actually have very sensitive skin, so they don't like to be out in the open. And I think I see something else coming down quickly. Sorry, something just caught my eye. Looks like a zebra. Just want to see if we can show you before it moves away. There it goes. Hang on. You can see those wonderful stripes. Oh, wonderful. Beautiful zebra. Look at that. Also feeding on the grass, just like a hippo would have. But look how well camouflaged it is between those trees. Very difficult to see. Kind of hiding from us a little bit. Angeli, you want to know if the hippos are black? No, Angeli, they're not. They're more of a greyish colour. But sometimes what happens when they lie in the water, like this hippo is doing over here, they also roll around in the mud. And the reason for that is to cover themselves, to protect their skin from the very harsh sun. So they may appear a bit darker, but they're generally a grey colour. Now look at that little bird on its back. It's called an oxpecker. Now that oxpecker looks like it's trying to clean a little wound on the hippo, a little scar, maybe feed on some ticks that might be around there. And the oxpeckers do generally feed on the ticks, but I think that one is trying to get to the wound on the hippo. Zaria, the hippo is not quite sleeping like we sleep, but it is resting. And it is staying in the water to stay cool. So it does rest, and we need to remember, everyone, and all the little children watching now, the animals out here in the African bush don't really sleep like we sleep. None of them do. They do rest, and they do... You could basically say they sleep, but they are always aware of what's going on around them. So they're always semi-awake. They never sleep like we sleep, because they always have to be prepared for potential predators, so any dangerous animals around. Nina, the hippos are not slimy. Their skin generally is fairly rough, but I think if they lie in the water a lot, they could get a little smooth and slimy if you had to go and touch them while they're lying in the water, but generally the skin is quite rough. Jewel, these birds don't go inside the hippos' mouths. That was a little bit of a myth, so we don't really see it often. Sometimes you'd see perhaps cartoons where the birds try and pick little pieces of food in that out of crocodiles' mouths and teeth, or hippo. That doesn't really happen. We don't see that. And these birds will just sit on the animals and try and pick off the ticks and the little bugs. But isn't it wonderful to see this hippo? I'm so glad we decided to check the water and got to find him. We're going to leave him now, let him rest a little bit further. We don't want to disturb him. While we do that, let's head back to Brent, who's still with some leopards.
So mom's left the two cubs. Now the little female, look at her, she's stalking her brother. Now this is gonna... There we go. Hello, big brother. Now, even though they're the same age, you can see how much bigger the little male is. So the males do get quite a bit bigger than the females. They also grow much faster. at that. Now Mom went off to the east of us. Let's just try and get into another good position for these little guys. Okay, hold on guys, isn't this exciting? We're spending time with baby leopards live in the African bush. Hello, Arun. There we go. Arun would like to know, are there more leopards or lions in Africa? In the whole of Africa, there are more leopards than lions because they live in the rainforests as well as in the savannah, and lions only live in the savannah. How's that? There we go. So lions only live in the savannah, leopards live in the rainforests and savannas, so there are more leopards in the whole of Africa than lions. So this is what happens when Mom goes hunting. They lie down like this and they'll wait for her to come back and fetch them if she catches something. Now Blair would like to know, are there different types of leopards? In Africa we've got one species of leopard, Blair, but there are other types of leopards, and you have snow leopards, clouded leopards that aren't directly related to these leopards, Amma leopards in Russia, but they are quite closely related. They're the most adaptable of the big cats. They can live in rainforest, they can live in desert, they can live in savannah, they can live next to the beach, they can live up in the mountains, so they can almost live anywhere, which makes them an incredible cat. Here we go, you can see her breathing heavily, trying to cool down. Jaden is wondering, what do leopards eat? Jaden, they eat small to medium-sized antelope normally, so they will eat some antelope as big as a white-tailed deer, but normally a bit smaller than that. But they also eat squirrels and mongoose and insects and birds, whatever they can catch. Oh. So I'm just trying to help someone get here. Standing by, Abel. I'm near the Mwati. There's a very big tambuti tree on the northern side of that Shkova. I'm around there. FM, just keep coming towards the Shkova, and as soon as I get your vehicle audio, I'll call you, I'll lead you in. Hello, Jewel. Sorry about that. I'm just trying to help Abel come find us. And Jewel would like to know, are leopards stronger than lions? They are not. Lions are the strongest cats in Africa, and they're much, much stronger than leopards. And also, lions are very dangerous for leopards, because if a lion sees a leopard, it'll try catch it and kill it. Now, Jordan's wondering, do leopards migrate? They don't really migrate, so they will have a territory. The males will migrate when they get to about 2.5, 3 years old. Oh, off they go. They might go for a drink. There's a little bit of water close by there. Oh, it's still, there we go. That's where her brother went. He just went for a drink. There's a little dry pan there. So the males will migrate away from where they were born, but the females will almost always stay close to where they were born. But they don't migrate in the normal sense of the word migration. Oh, look at, she's going to go. Look at that. So they're playing. So this stalking is practice hunting, and they practice on each other. And they do a lot of this when Mom leaves them alone when she goes to look for food. Well, he's coming back towards us. Hello, mister. you off to? Hello, mister. Now, Katie's wondering how long is a leopard's tail. Well, Katie, it depends on the leopard. Normally, it's almost the same size of its body without the head. So, it all depends on how big the leopard is. 1.6 meters to 1.8 meters normally. So, the little female is still sitting up there, but I think she might follow her brother. But let's look at her while she's sitting so nicely out in the open. Okay, well, we're going to wait to see what these leopards do next. While we do that, let's see how Jamie's hunting for lions on foot is going.
Here we go. Remember when you last saw me, I said that we would try and find you. Uh-oh! Are you okay, Jandre? I hope you are all feeling... I wish I'd had a camera for that. I'm sorry. Are you alright? You okay? I'm so sorry. I didn't see it either, or I would have warned you. Okay. I hope none of you get motion sick really easily. Maybe car sick or something. You might have felt like you were flying all over the place. You did a marvelous job of not dropping the camera. Well done. Right, so remember how I said earlier that yes, it is very easy to find a bone out here. And that's because the lions, the leopards that you saw with Brent, they've all got to eat at some point or another. Hyenas, wild dogs. And what that means is that they often leave the rest of the animal behind. And in this case, we've got a bone to show you. And it is in fact a part of an animal's backbone. Now, I don't know which animal it is. It's a little bit hard to tell. It's probably an antelope just by the size, maybe a very young buffalo. But this bone is the same bone that run up along your back. So it's a vertebra. And they'll all be piled on top of each other all the way up your back. So it's exactly the same as you or I, that we've got backbones as well. And what happens is they fit together sort of like this. Wait, let's try this side, it might be better. They fit together and slot together so that they can move and twist and join, which is how the animals, just like us, if you bend down to touch your toes or you turn a little bit or you twirl, these bones will help you to do that because they can move. So that's what this bone is. It's the backbone. And through the middle, where I was looking at you from, through this bit here, that is where all of the important nerves and the blood, not the blood, but the nerves run from the brain to the rest of the body. So this is an animal's backbone. I'm going to leave it here in the bush for something perhaps to chew on. Something like hyenas maybe could come through, although there's nothing really left in those bones. And the last thing I wanted to show you, just quickly, remember how I said a reptile egg is soft? This is a reptile egg, or an old hatched reptile egg. So there you go. Right, we're going to carry on looking for those lions, and hopefully Jandre won't fall over again, but if he does, well, I'll be ready to laugh at him. But in the meantime, let's go back to Byron, who is still with his hippo.
Now, so I just wanted to stick with this hippo a little bit longer. We actually saw some monkeys, everyone, that were here, but they've just run off. They're hiding away from us. Unfortunately, they're very, very shy, the little monkeys, and they have moved away, but the hippo has moved a little bit. He's just rolled in the water to try and cool down. You can see he's dipping his head into the water a little bit more, trying to stay cool. I'm sure it's quite comfortable in there. Preston, you want to know if hippos are mammals? Yes, Preston, they are. They're 100% mammal. They just spend a lot of time in the water, but they breathe out of land and they do feed and eat on land. They just lie and rest in the water during the day. bottom, the hippos, when they move out of the water, they go and eat the grass. They feed on grass. And that's it. It's amazing how these big animals get so big just from eating grass. So it just shows you it's very important to eat your vegetables, everyone. So, Alex, you want to know how big are the hippo's eyes? So those eyes are quite big. I think if we were very close, that eye would probably be around about that size. Alex, somewhere around there, and they bulge a little bit on top of the hippo's skull. You can see over there, right on top. And the interesting thing with the hippo, and if they are lying in the water, the ears, the eyes, and the nostrils are all above water. And the reason for that, with the ears and eyes and nostrils all on top of the head, is so that they can lie in deeper water, so cover their whole body, or submerge the whole body underwater, and keep all the vital organs that they need, or their sense organs, above the water, so they can keep an eye out for any danger. So the ears, the eyes, and the nostrils. Oh, those little birds are bothering. So Landon, the hippo is only hiding in the water at the moment because of the hot day. They don't like the sun very much, and they prefer to stay cool. So they do enjoy lying in the water just to stay cool. It's not a case of them really trying to hide. Although they are big animals and they can be a little shy. So even though in the evenings, and that's the best time, or in winter, it's the best time to see them out of the water, when it's very cool and it's not so hot, and they'll move around feeding on grass. And those nostrils. So Brennan, the water doesn't actually camouflage the hippo. The water is just there as a place for the hippo to hide in, or to rest in, because it's cooler. So it doesn't necessarily camouflage the hippo at all. Jewel, these hippo are not related to rhinos at all. You wanted to know if they're related in any way. They're not. Hippos are in a different family completely. They're not related to the rhino at all. The rhino is much, much bigger. Or actually, some species of rhino are about the same size as a hippo. But the rhinos obviously have those beautiful big horns, and the rhinos don't lie in the water all day like hippos do, but they are different animals completely, not related. I think we're going to sit here a little bit longer with this hippo, just see what he gets up to. Let's head back to Brent with the leopards and see what they're doing.
Well, here we go. They're just exploring around this area where their mom left them. And that's normal. I can't see where the little boy is. That's the little girl we're following there now. I wonder where her brother's hiding. He's around there somewhere. Oh, has she spotted him? She's just looking for him. And you can see that little white tip to the tail. Now all leopards have that. It's called a following mechanism. So when babies are following the mom, they can see that white tip and follow her. Okay, now they've got to a difficult spot. I'm going to have to try and move around. Wait, is she going to pop out again? We just want to wait 1 minute, have a quick look. 1 second, maybe not 1 minute. 1 minute's a bit long. I just want to see if she's going to come down off and joining us again. So far, your questions have been great. Keep them coming. We love hearing from you. Okay, now we're going to move. I'll try to see if we can get a nice view of her again. We don't want to fall into the hole. No, we're not going to fall into the hole. Don't worry. Let's see if we can get a view of these wonderful leopards. Can you see her? Or him? Oh look, there they are. There he is. Lying down right there next to the other game drive car. And it's been so wonderful having Malibu, Tallwood and Providence Elementary with us on the school drive. Guys, it's been absolutely splendid, but it's time to say goodbye. Hopefully we'll see you on drive again soon. So from all of us here at Safari Live, toodaloo for now.
So we're still sitting with the hippo, everyone, and I think the schools have just left us. I'm not going to sit with this hippo for too much longer, but interesting behavior and interesting to see these oxpeckers all sitting on the hippo, they're actually feeding on the blood. And that's what oxpeckers do, and that's why they also feed on ticks, is mainly to get to the blood. So that oxpecker and those oxpeckers are actually cleaning the wound or drinking the blood of the hippo. That's why they're sitting on that hippo and why they've been flying about. And there have been a few of them on that hippo, in fact. There have also been little terrapins swimming around and trying to bite ticks and that, or feed on the ticks off of the hippo. There are plenty of terrapins in that water at the moment. You might see there, look at all those heads bobbing in and out. There are plenty of terrapins here. It's incredible. I think because it's so dry, there's not a lot of water around, so they need to all congregate in these little mud wallows or dams. And I mean, this is very dry at the moment. Hopefully we're going to get some rain soon, but the terrapins will also go and feed off ticks off of that hippo. Anyway, it was lovely to sit with him. We're going to start moving again. I'm trying to find out if Herbert and them have had any luck with the lions. I haven't heard anything from him. I'm hoping that they do find them, because they are looking for them. We did a loop around and tried to look for tracks, but it's very difficult to drive and look for tracks, especially if they've just crossed the road somewhere. No sign of them just yet. Well, we haven't had a sign of them, so I'm hoping Herbert and them do have a bit more luck. And nice to see that zebra briefly that walked through here. I don't know where it's gone to. Move through here. We might see it again while we're driving. Still very, very warm, so, and I do think that if these lions are around, they'll still be resting in the shade. And now that the schools have left us, please don't forget, you can send us your questions and your comments either via Twitter, the hashtag Safari Live, otherwise email us questions@WildEarthTV, and we'll gladly answer your questions and listen to your comments. We love having our viewers comment and send in your questions. Hopefully everybody gets to learn from it. Oh, a little Steenbok. Hopefully it doesn't run. No, there it goes. As I said that. Hang on, maybe if I go forward a little bit, you might get a view through there. How's that, Willem? Can you see it? A beautiful little male Steenbok. One of the smallest antelope in this area. Lovely to see them around. There are quite a few, but they're a little shy, as you saw. He didn't want to stand around or close to us for very long. Dropping some dung there, it looks like, yeah. And these little Steenboks do have little middens that they'll use, or what they occasionally do, because they are quite territorial, or what they occasionally do, and we might see this male, he might try and cover that dung. Let's just see if he does that. Let's just have a look. There, you see that? Covering his dung. Very interesting, very secretive little animals, and they try and cover their dung. And I mean, there are a few theories, and the theory is that if they scent marking, perhaps scratching soil makes the scent last a little bit longer. But I think mainly with these little Steenboks is they do try and hide some of their dung so that predators don't pick up that they are in the area. So they try and cover their dung and mask the scent a little bit more than anything else. Very interesting behavior. Lovely to see the little Steenbok. Let me just see if I can get hold of Herbert quickly. Herbert for Byron. We can try to find out, get an update where they are looking, and if they want us to have a look in an area, it does help. If we work together and try and check a larger area, we might be able to find the lions a lot quicker then. A female Steenbok just ran past us, and I assume that female might be the mate of that male that we had, because they do generally stay in pairs. I should just move through the thicket there a little bit. You can't see her now, but they do stay in pairs, not always right. And sorry, something bit me. I think it was a little fly. So, as I was saying, if I was attacked viciously by a fly, they stay in pairs, and they don't, not always in the same or very, very close to one another. Rather, they will be in the same area, but not right next to one another. They do split up a little bit, and then they'll meet up occasionally, but they do stay in pairs, and they generally mate for life, which is interesting, considering all other antelope, or most other antelope, will mate with many different partners. Alright, we're going to continue our search for lions, and let's see if Jamie has had any luck on foot.
We have had lots of luck, and by no small means due to Herbie's assistance in terms of keeping ahead of us and helping us out in looking for the tracks. Now, we're going to talk about that particular track in a moment, but I'm starting to feel slightly hurried because we are on a main road. But just a quick reintroduction for those of you who are joining us now after the school drives are complete. My name is Jamie. This afternoon, Jean-Ray is on camera with him. You will know him, of course, from the spectacular backward swan dive that he did over a termite mound earlier. You'll be happy to know that he is in one piece. Dignity not so intact, sort of intact. Yeah, Jean-Ray is quite happy about it. He's absolutely fine. Minor graze, but other than that, he is alive and well. I'm terribly impressed at his dedication to the camera that he didn't send it flying. But if perhaps you have any further questions on Jean-Ray's not fall from grace, but just backwards fall, go away flies, you can send those through to #SafariLive on Twitter, or you can email through to questions@WildEarth.tv. And likewise, any questions that you happen to think of about lions, leopards, or anything in between, or perhaps the stable flies that are attempting to sink their biting mouth parts into our flesh. So our lion track is over here. My shadow, unfortunately, is going to make life very difficult, but it does give you a nice idea. The outline of the track, these are the toes here, and this is the back of the foot. So in terms of size, it is roughly the same size as my hand. If I don't stretch my fingers out, his track is roughly the size of my hand track. So an absolutely massive, almost side plate sized track, and he is slowly but surely walking in a circle, which I can't quite understand. We're about, I would say, 300, 400 meters from where we first picked up on those tracks. And just by the way, this morning, we were on our way home after the end of the sunrise safari, and I don't know what it is with me on this road and animals at the end, but we walked straight into Amber Eyes and Mfumo, who watched us for a little while and then got up and trotted off in the opposite direction. So it's them that we've been tracking. So we know exactly when they were, where they were, and what. Oh, that's interesting. Sorry, I say it's interesting. Watch out, don't stand in it, Andre. We're all going backwards. Sorry, this is not belonging to a lion, obviously, but it is a relatively large deposit of one of the bird species, and I'm trying to work out what it is from the tracks. I mean, surely that is too big for a francolin. There's francolin tracks here, but is it, Herbie? It is. So that is a francolin deposit. I'm actually quite astounded at the sheer disproportionate size of it, but it does tell us something, as gross as it is to look at, and that is, of course, that much like reptiles, birds do not urinate. They do not have a separate sort of, they don't actually have separate reproductive and urinary tract openings. It's all one opening known as the cloaca, much like reptiles, because, of course, birds and reptiles are quite closely related. And this white stuff here is that I'm not going to touch because it's very fresh, but this white stuff here is the urea. So we excrete urea in our urine and in our sweat. Birds will excrete it in a very solid form as part of their entire excretory substance. So they defecate and urinate as one. Now, our lion tracks, moving swiftly on from what is this, bird droppings. Our lion tracks come along down here. They go on top of most of the tracks of the vehicles along here, and you'll notice us all do that, by the way, when we track. It's a habit we've all got, marking with the back of our toes behind us, just so that if we do lose the track, we've got a really easy way of coming back to the track, or else an easy way of somebody else spotting the track. So here, you can see we've already been walking around here. Here he goes. And unfortunately, well, no, it's unfortunate actually. Unfortunately, they're going straight into the block that we were in this morning, which is where we didn't have any signal on bushwalk. This morning on bushwalk. So what we're going to try and do, because there's a strip that we do have signal, we're going to try and follow them in there a little bit, and then obviously once our signal starts to drop, then we'll have to turn around and head back to the more comfortable signal areas. Just such a pity, because it would have been so nice to start making our way in there, but unfortunately we won't be able to have any pictures, so we'll end up in a situation where we find the lions, but we won't be able to you. I just want to move off the road because there's a vehicle coming, and then we shall see what else we can find. We identified the tree from this morning, the tree that unfortunately we couldn't show you because we were in the spot without signal, and it was a rus. It was one of the species of rus, of which there are many. I'm just waving hello because we've just come off the main road. I'm just checking to see which way these lions have gone. While we do that, let's go over to Byron, who's found some of the Inkahuma's favorite food.
We have indeed, and we were chatting this morning about us not seeing too many buffalo around. But here is an old buffalo bull, and he is still very, very thin after the drought, and you would have thought that he'd start picking up a bit of fat and condition, but I suppose there's still not a lot of grass around. I mean, it does look green, but it's not substantial to keep these animals going and feeding on a lot of vegetation, but they're trying their best, so hopefully they'll all start picking up some weight fairly soon. Nice to see a buffalo though, and I'm not sure. I mean, I've just been listening to Jamie and Herbert. No real sign. I know they've got tracks, but we're not exactly sure which direction these lions have gone. It's a bit confusing. Sounds like they've gone back in the opposite direction to what they were going. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to head towards that position where we had Tingana this morning, that big male leopard. We're going to go and have a look and see what's happening there, if he's still around. I was hoping to find the lions a bit earlier, but what we can do is go and have a look and see that leopard's in the area. Maybe we're lucky and he is and we get a view of him. And then we can always come back and try to look for those lions a bit later. Maybe as it cools down, we might get them moving around. So I think that sounds like a good plan. So it's still very, very warm. So I do think if that male leopard is still in that area, is probably lying in that drainage line, trying to stay out of the heat. James, you say it was nice to see a live buffalo or breathing buffalo for a change. It was indeed nice to see a buffalo that's not being fed on by lions or just a dead carcass. Really nice driving, a little bit quicker. You got a nice breeze, cools everything down a bit, which is great. Still no sign of elephants, and it's very, very unfortunate. I'm hoping that we get to see some elephants soon. I think I mentioned it this morning and start missing them. So I couldn't hear the name there properly. It's a bit loud here at the moment, but it sounds like Espen. Espen wants to know, why are male buffalo known as Dugger boys? So Espen, well, the reason is the old male buffalo like to wallow in the mud fairly regularly, and the Zulu word for mud is umdaga. And what happened was, because these males have been found wallowing in mud and lying in these water holes constantly, they got the nickname Dugger boys, because they generally just like the mud very much and often get caked in the mud, and that's to protect their skin, stay cool, and keep some of the ticks and flies off of them. So that's where the name Dugger comes from. Dugger boys, because they generally always in the mud, so mud boys. So that's where that name comes from. I'm going to try and turn on to Arathusa now. I'll just wait for a vehicle to pass. Afternoon, everyone. Hello, how are you? Good, good. Enjoy?
How are you?
Good, thanks.
Where's Karula?
I think somewhere around Mamba Road. Yeah. So on our side, Mamba Road, somewhere through the drainage line there. I think not far from Cheetah cut line area.
She's got a bumper there.
Nothing at the moment.
Maybe she's back to the south now.
Maybe she's heading back there. Yeah. They were in that area. Yeah. All right. Enjoy. Enjoy, everyone. Enjoy the drive. Bye. Sorry about that, everyone. Just trying to update some of the other rangers in the area with what's going on with leopards, and they're obviously always on the lookout for leopards, especially Karula and her cubs. Beautiful hornbill. Hang on. Let me just reverse for you a little bit. There we go. Yellow-billed hornbill. Has it got a worm? Yes, it has. As we focus, it flies off. Looked like a little caterpillar, perhaps. The hornbills do enjoy feeding on caterpillars. These hairy caterpillars that we get in this area, especially, they sit on these terminalia trees quite a lot. And these are the silver cluster leaves, all over to my left. You can actually see they do have a silver tinge to them, bit of silver coloration. And they do get a lot of caterpillars sitting on them, and those hornbills do go and look for those little caterpillars. James Duncan, you want to know, is there any type of plant here that we can use to help soothe itchy skin or irritated skin? Now I'm trying to think. Sorry, I actually want to take another road. I don't want to go down here. I'm going to head straight towards Red Dam on Arathusa rather. Now I'm trying to think if there is a tree that soothes itchy skin out here. Oh dear, I can't think of one now. No, I'm stumped. I can't think of one, James. I'm not sure. I'll have to try and find out for you. Yeah, really, I can't think of one that soothes itchy skin. Alright, we're going to be approaching Red Dam soon. I just want to quickly have a look. Let's just, we're not far from the dam. Let's quickly have a look and see if there's anything drinking perhaps around the water. We'll have a good look around this area. I wonder if that male leopard didn't perhaps decide to go for a drink today because it was hot, because he was feeding on an impala. Sometimes they get very thirsty when they do feed on a kill, and they will go in search of water. We're approaching the dam now. It's just off to our right. Let's have a look around and see if there's any animals, if there are any animals in this area. And nothing, unfortunately. A few terrapins that just moved off. Oh, there's some beautiful little birds flying around here. Let's have a look. Oh, a pygmy kingfisher. Yes, look at that. A beautiful pygmy kingfisher. Let me... Sorry, I think it's a malachite kingfisher. My bad, hold on. Let's just have a look. There it goes. No, that's not it. That's a flycatcher. But the kingfisher is down here. It's sitting. See that dead branch there, Viam? Beautiful malachite kingfisher. I'm sorry, not a little bit higher off, hanging off the edge of the bank, Viam, just under that green grass over there. There we go. There it is. Wonderful. Beautiful malachite kingfisher. Wow. Just caught the glimpse of that deep blue, almost purple coloration. I haven't seen one of these in this area before. I know Brent, I think, saw one or two the other day. And it's a beautiful little kingfisher, tiny kingfisher. One of the smaller ones, and they do feed on fish. Tiny little fish and tadpoles, little frogs perhaps. Sometimes the odd insect, but they are generally found around water. They're very seldomly found away from water holes. So it's really wonderful to see this little kingfisher, the smallest kingfisher that we do have in this area. And there's another one, the pygmy kingfisher, but I don't think we see many of them around. Just trying to have a look. There's some swallows coming down, having a drink. Those look like red-breasted swallows. Oh, it's a wonderful waterhole, this. A lot of activity. We've got the blacksmith lapwings drinking over there too. And what is that? A little wood sandpiper just in front of that. Where did it go? Is it still there? There he is, wood sandpiper. A lot of bird life around here. It's fantastic. Alright, I think what we're going to do is we're going to continue on and have a look if we can find out where that male leopard is, if it's still in the area or if it's moved. I think why don't we head back to Brent and get an update from him and his leopards that he was with.
Well, welcome back. We just went for a little trundle to see if Karula didn't just sleep somewhere in the shade away from the cubs. It's not. Her tracks are actually heading to the north, so she's off hunting again. And I'm not going to try go find her because it'd literally be like looking for a needle in a haystack. So I think our best bet is to stay with young Shongele and Hasana, who are quite flat at the moment. Oh, there's one. Where's the other gone while we've been gone? So, where's the other trouble? It's gone behind there, but there we go. We're still a little Shongele, is still sleeping in the shade. Hasana's gone on a wander somewhere. And it is quite warm today, so it's not unusual for the leopards not to be very active. Now, interestingly enough, Karula has gone off hunting. Now, she does hunt quite a lot in the heat. Let's see how long it takes before little Shongi gets lonely again and goes to look for her brother. Sleepy kitties. Now, this is live, so we can't predict what's going to happen next. There could be a flurry of action, or they could just keep sleeping. But that is the joy of being live. And remember, this is also interactive. Hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or questions at WildEarth.tv. If you'd like to ask us any questions about these incredible cats, or even just this area in general. Hi, Tanith. Tanith would like to know what language are the leopards named in. They're named in Xitsonga, or sometimes called Shangaan. It is the local language in this part of South Africa, in the sort of northeastern areas along the border of Mozambique. The language extends into both Mozambique and South Africa. And Tanith also likes to know how many languages I speak. Well, I speak quite a few badly, Tanith, but I probably English, Afrikaans, a bit of Zulu. My Shangaan is not very good, barely passable, in fact, and some Swahili. And that's about what I can really get by, and I can also get by a little bit in Tswana and Sotho, but again, not very well. Hi, Bavukile, and Bavukile is wondering, is it safe for Karula to just leave her cubs by themselves, or is there any danger? I mean, there's always danger, Bavukile. We're out in the African bush. A lion could wander in, a leopard could, a male leopard who's unrelated to them, a young nomadic male might wander in. But if she doesn't go out hunting, they would certainly die because they wouldn't get any food. And to take them hunting is a big problem. As they're often boisterous when they're moving, and they chase all the potential dinner species away. So it's as safe as it can be for them to be left in the area like this. There's lots of good hiding spots and climbable trees, and even at this age they are quite alert. Now, Paul's wondering, why don't leopards hyperventilate to cool off? Well, Paul, in hyperventilation, you would actually increase your heart rate, so it would actually have the opposite effect from cooling off. It would actually heat them up. And of course, there's danger of passing out when you hyperventilate too much, etc. And they haven't developed it. They don't have a need to hyperventilate. So they're quite happy just panting and lying in the shade and minimizing their movements to avoid overheating. But while we sit with a very warm little Shongile, hopefully Hosana makes his way back just now. But let's go find out how Jamie's lion tracking is going.
Well, have a look at what we have found wrapped around the branch of this tree. Now, I have absolutely no idea what it is we're looking at. I haven't got a clue. I've been trying to work it out. I don't think, let me try and go around so that I don't hide it away in my shadow. I've been trying to work this out. I don't think it is a reptile, what are the words I'm looking for? Insect species. I don't think it's a wasp or something like that. It's definitely an egg casing. But as to what it is, I am utterly bemused. It doesn't make sense for a reptile to leave its eggs right out in the open like this. So it must surely be an insect. But I can't think. It's got a very egg-like shell to them. They're hard and sort of solid and crispy. So I have absolutely no idea what they are. So what I'm going to do, because they've all hatched, or they've all been eaten, they're all broken open either way, so I'm going to try and take this branch. It's such a pity it's... Ow. Oh dear. One down. Where did it go? Oh no, it didn't. I thought I'd broken it, but I hadn't. I'm going to take this branch of the black monkey thorn, and I'm going to take it back to the tent so that James can have a look at it, and maybe Steph can have a look at it. Alarm calling, and I know the lions, and I know we can't go there, but we have a drive channel, so they will be able to follow up. And we're going to follow up on what this is. Let me try and find a safe place for it. This seems like a bad idea, but anyway, there's no way that could go wrong at all. Now, James Dungan, I hear that you've been asking about itchy skin and whether there's any plants that will help you out. This is one plant. I'm not going to take you over there because it puts us further into the bad signal area, but it's called a bushman's grape. Now, I don't know if it works for itchy skin, but I'm going to try something. I'm going to try an experiment, because remember, and not get bitten. Well, I did, and there's a couple of different remedies for itchy skin. One is the bushman's grape, which is actually not Renius. It's not good for stings, but I'm thinking bee stings, tick bite might work the same. Then there's marula bark, and then herby.
Welcome back. It seems like Jamie's in a bit of a gremlin area. We're still sitting here. Osana and Shongile haven't really moved. They're flat cats. And Karula's off hunting. I mean, we know where the cubs are. So I'm going to put it up to you guys. Should we go see what else we can find on this sunny Monday afternoon? Or should we sit here and wait to see if Karula comes back? Now, there's always a chance we might bump Karula. somewhere on our wanderings. I got a general idea where she was heading. She was hunting towards Mumba Road, so we might take a dabble around there. She might head down to the Milwaukee, but it's up to you guys. Let me know. Do you want to stay here, or do you want to move on? We're going to just put the hashtag Safari Live on. Should we stay or should we go? I don't think there's going to be too much action. We can come back and check in here a little later, but I think there's pretty much going to be flat cats for the next hour or so. Remember, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or questions at WildEarthTV. While we're sitting here with a flat cat, let's have a look at a tree or two. Now, let's have a look at this tree that's right next to us. Let's get you a little leaf here. There we go. I'm going to pop it on the dashboard for you. So, who knows what tree this is? Actually, I'm going to tell you what tree this is. So it's quite a difficult one, just from where it's growing and the way it's growing. It doesn't look quite normal to what it does, and you can see there's a very new growth on the leaves, and there's some very fine hair on it. There we go. You can see the little fine hairs catching the sunlight as I move it from side to side. Oh, to there. Okay. So it is one of the bush willows, the combretums. And this one looks like a russet bush willow that's just got a nice new flush of new leaves. And of course, a lot of the trees have just got a flush of new leaves, and it's been really, really dry. I mean, the worst drought experienced in over 100 years. And hopefully you get some more rain, because the amount of rain we've had so far has been great, but it's not nearly enough to sort of counteract the lack of rain we had in the last wet season. Shongi not moving an inch. Little Hassan is somewhere just over there. Let's see what else is around the vehicle. What else can we spot from here while we wait to see whether we're going to stay or going to go? Okay, well, we can have a look at this. Have a look at this root system here quickly before we move on. It seems like everyone wants to go see what else we can find. We'll come back and check on the leopards a little later. There we go. There's a red bush willow that's been pushed over by elephants. But quite interesting, you can see there's almost two separate sets of roots when we look at the bottom. So the left-hand side already died, and the right-hand side kept living. So look at that. So there we go. There's the living roots. And that's what the elephants are mostly after when they push a tree down like that. They will feed off the branches, but they generally do go for the roots. Where we can see on the left there, a completely dead side, and the termites have started eating it. Okay, well, let's go see what else we can find as we travel through the African wilderness. And I've got some good news, because Byron's got another leopard.
We do indeed, and this leopard is far from flat, everyone. He is up in the tree feeding at the moment. Look at that. And our plan worked out. We thought we'd head into this area a little bit later. Hopefully it cooled down a bit. And it has somewhat. It's fortunately quite dry in the drainage line. I mean, quite cool in the drainage line. So this leopard is trying to feed on that carcass. A lot of flies around there, as you can see, bothering him quite a bit. But he's trying to finish that, and I do think that he's going to finish that fairly soon. There didn't seem like a lot of meat left. And when we arrived here, there was a hyena that was milling about underneath the tree and got one or two tasty little bits that fell from the carcass. But that hyena's taken that little piece, and hang on, here it comes. Off to the left, you'll see the hyena coming in. There we go. Oh, fantastic. It's trying to scavenge little pieces that the leopards are dropping from the tree. Oh, there's a piece that fell, but it landed in a bush. So the hyena won't be able to get it. And that's great. You know, I actually, I haven't seen a hyena for how long now? A month, yeah. And they're around, we hear them and we see their tracks, but we just don't see them very often. It's great to see this hyena trying to scavenge bits and pieces from this leopard. And it's amazing how agile that leopard is. But look at that, isn't that wonderful? And these flies, watch, he might try and get that piece in the tree. Let's see. Let's see this. He might try and, they can't climb or jump very, very well. Might just try and, like we can see, they get on his hind legs, try reach up and get that. That must be so frustrating. Giving us a little look and saying, don't laugh at me. Oh, those flies are really bothering these animals. Imagine that, dangling this piece of meat in front of the hyena and he can't get to it. It must be so frustrating. And look how agile this leopard is. This big male leopard. Tingana is huge. And the way he is able to move around in this tamboti tree and feed and balance, it is really incredible. See, we'll probably use that tail quite a lot. Those tails are very, very thick. They help balance, very powerful tails. They help balance the leopard slightly. Also try to keep some of the flies away. Oh, this is great. This, to be honest, a leopard sighting like this doesn't get much better. To be able to see it up in the tree, feeding, doing what a leopard is meant to do. We hear stories of leopards hoisting kills into trees and feeding in trees, and you don't often see it. So be able to see it now is wonderful. Oh, watch! Let's see what happens if he's going to come down. See, that hyena is very nervous. He knows this is a big leopard. And let's see, we might get some really interesting interaction here. Let's see what this male decides. And that hyena looked a little young, not quite a big adult. And also what happens is, if hyenas are alone, then chances are they won't challenge a big male leopard like this. A leopard will easily chase this hyena off. But if they outnumber the leopard quite a bit, like maybe 2 or 3 hyena, then they'll potentially try and chase the leopard away. But with the leopard being up in the tree, it's completely safe at the moment. It doesn't have to worry about anything. Also, the hyena obviously can't get up into the tree, so that kill is safe, or what's left of the kill. And it'll be interesting to see what this leopard does. Raj, as I was saying, it's these leopards generally try to avoid confrontation, so the chances of him fighting with this hyena are very, very slim, but he would most likely chase the hyena away very easily. That hyena, you could see just when that, look at that, wow, look how agile he is. Incredible how he can just jump and turn through the thick branches of this tree. It really is incredible. But so it's highly unlikely that this leopard would actually fight with the hyena, but he would probably chase him off, and I think a growl or a hiss would be enough to get that hyena to move away. You saw as he moved and tried to come down, or move slightly further down, the hyena got a fright and it did move away. It doesn't want to necessarily tackle a big, strong male leopard like this. David, you've asked an interesting question about the hyenas and do they normally roam on their own? So David, And the hyenas are found in clans, usually. So the clans can be fairly large. But often what happens is the hyenas do move around and scavenge, especially in these areas. They do move around alone and scavenge. It's easier then to try and find food, and they don't have to share food with some of the other animals around this area. Oh, another piece just fell. I wonder if that hyena will want to come through. Don't see it anymore. So David, as I was saying, with them moving around, scavenging by themselves, it's easier to find food. They don't have to share it with anyone else. They can then scavenge and move off. But if they find large carcasses, often they'll call and communicate with each other, and then you will find a clan arriving together and trying to feed and scavenge off a big carcass. And especially if there's perhaps a large pride of lions, then if the hyenas do outnumber the lions, especially if they're lionesses, hyenas will be able to chase the lions off. And if there are males around, usually the hyenas try to avoid the area because the males are so much bigger and stronger. Here comes the male. Let's see if he comes down. There we go. Oh, look at that. It's probably going to take 1 or 2 steps and then jump. Oh, which way is he going to want to go? I do think if he does want to climb down, he potentially will want to climb this way. There we go. Let's see. Exactly. Perfect. Wasn't that a great dismount? 10 out of 10, Tingana. And I think he may just go and lay down in the shade somewhere. And he's hoisted that kill high up in the tree. Let's see where he goes. Wasn't that a wonderful sighting? Lovely. We'll try to follow him and just see where he does move to. Don't think he's going to move too far. Perhaps he's just a bit hesitant to stay close to the tree. Alright, I'm going to see if I can back to the bushwalk to Jamie and get an update from her.
We were in the process of trying to answer a question a little bit earlier. I don't know how much you saw because I don't know exactly where it was that our signal disappeared. However, I would like to finish off with what we started talking about. Apparently, I should start from the beginning, which is a very good place to start. So the beginning of a little bit of the walk earlier that we had to crash cut away from was the mystery of the eggs on some kind of, on a black monkey orange. And I have absolutely, let me just turn them around so you can see them and you can see in a little bit. I have absolutely no idea what these things are, so I've taken them along for the ride just to try and figure out if we can't get some answers on this subject, because I don't think that they're an insect egg. I think they might be a reptile egg, but they seem to be very, very exposed where they were. So I've been carrying this around. So far I've managed to hook it into my skin once and drop it 3 times. Hopefully it manages to actually get home intact. It's quite difficult. You're sort of absent-mindedly swinging whatever it is you're carrying, and I nearly forgot all about it. Right, the next thing I was going to go into, I don't want to put this in my pocket because I've already dropped, I'll just hold it. The next thing I'm going to go into was James Dungan's question about whether or not there are any plants for itchy skin. And I thought we'd do a little bit of an experiment. So I've picked up some panicum grass, which is apparently, according to Herbie, one of the remedies for itchy skin. Then I picked up some very droopy looking Bushman's grape. Already very droopy, despite the fact that I picked it earlier. And I've picked them now just so that we don't run the risk of not finding them again with where we're walking. And I'm now on a mission to try and find some marula tree bark, which is purported to have antihistamine properties. Now, my plan is, and I'm afraid I might have to sit down for this, my plan is to do a control test, because I got bitten by pepper ticks the last time I was on a walk, which are the larval form of a tick. They're horrible tiny little ticks, and they bite just as well as the adults, except you can't see them to get them off. So I got a few bites from a pepper tick, and I'm going to try and do a control test to see whether or not any of these work. The Bushman's grape is the one I'm going to start with. This is the one I'm the least certain of, because it is the one that is actually not really for tick bites. It's the tick bite there. You can see I've already massacred it with my fingernails. Obviously not the kind of person that can deal with an itch and not scratch it. So I've been told, according to Renius, who came to teach us tracking, that the leaves can be used for bee stings. So you pack it on, you rub it on, and it can be used for bee sting. So I'm going to try. I needed to sort of, needed to tie on somehow, I suppose. There we go. You just stick there. It's very sticky, very, very sticky leaf. I've just chewed it a little bit just to give it some moisture. Then I've got another bite over here that I'm going to put some grass on. Just bear with me a second. I'm going to give it a chew. Some panicum grass. Okay, that was maybe slightly overkill. And then I have another bite on my toe that is awaiting marula bark. Oh, whoopsie. Oh dear. Ow, this one's stinging. The bushman's grape stings. I don't know whether that means I should probably take it off or not. Oh well. We'll see. It's an experiment. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a control. Well, I do actually have a control. I suppose I could use the one pepper tick bite that's on my stomach as a control to see which one works the best. So we're doing a test between bushman's grape, panicum grass, and when we get some marula tree bark to see which of them works better for an itch. So I hope one of them will work well, and then I will have an answer. Oh, that was never going to stay on. Wait, before I forget, where did I put it? There. Hopefully we will have an answer as to which of the traditional itchy skin methods is more effective in terms of treating things like itchy bites from ticks. Marula tree bark, unfortunately, is going to take me a little bit longer because we've got to try and find, ow, that stings. I might have done a bad thing. This might have been a very silly experiment. It's not itching though. So far the bushman grape is the winner. It is not... It's not itching anymore. So far the bushman grape is the winner. Apparently, James, you're very appreciative because it's not often you get an answer in a demonstration. Well, I'm glad we can demonstrate. I'll let you know which of these works the best. I can't quite decide. So far the sting is more distracting than the itch, but that I suppose is a good thing. And the one that's on my foot is still itching like crazy. So let's go and find us some marula tree. It will take us a little bit longer because we've actually got to find a suitable living marula that isn't too big, and try and get to some of the bark, which might prove a little bit more tricky. So we're unfortunately moving away from the lions. We're moving through the silver cluster leaf thicket, and while we go off in search of our marula tree to complete the third and final portion of our test, it sounds as though Brent has found one of our bird species.